Hey everybody, welcome to this session on designing a simple app as part of CodeWeek EU. We had 70 classes joining us this morning, and a couple of you wanted to have a screen recording, which we didn't do because of privacy reasons for the students. So here's a recording of that session again for those of you who missed it, or for those of you who want to run this session again with a different class. So this webinar will be facing the students. So you as a teacher, you can put me up on your board, and I will go through the Design a Simple App lesson with your students. And as this is a video now, you can feel free to pause me at any time and or take over the class with your students as well. Use this video as you see the best fit. Okay, so what we are doing today is we are going to design a simple app. And by simple, we just mean that it's an app that your students can build a prototype for, hopefully within the hour that you have them today. If you have not already downloaded the resource, you can scan this QR code, and that will take you to the Design a Simple App website within the Apple Teacher Learning Center. And here you can find the Design a Simple App project. If you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you will see a link that says download this project. It's a Keynote file, and your students should open that on Keynote on their iPads. This lesson is designed to be used on the iPads, but I will also show you later on how your students can join in by using only their pen and paper. Okay, if all of your students are ready to go and have this workbook in front of them, then let's get started. Okay, so here are the 4 parts of this lesson. We are going to brainstorm and plan. Then we are going to build a Keynote prototype. Then, after your Keynote prototype is done, which you will continue on your own without me in this lesson, you can have your students evaluate each other's app and also write some text to promote their app and create what their page in the App Store would look like. Okay, for this session, we will only focus on the first 2 parts. So we will only brainstorm and plan and do the Keynote prototype. Here's an example of an interactive app that your students can create. So this is a prototype in Keynote, and it's a daily affirmations app. So would you like to feel grateful, happy, or excited? You tap on the button and you get a daily affirmation. Because what we are going to do today is we are going to design an app that will make your life as a student just a little bit better. And to start off, we are going to brainstorm and plan. So grab a pencil if you have one. If you're doing it on a workbook, then you can either draw with the Apple Pencil or a stylus, or draw with your finger by adding a drawing, or of course you can just write down your notes on pen and paper or add a text box. The idea is that you are going to generate 10 different app ideas in 5 minutes, so 30 seconds per idea. And the challenge is that this app will need to make your day just a little bit better. So think about the frustrations that you might have during the day, and what kind of app would kind of solve that challenge. Okay, so your ideas should be kind of small in scope, because think about that it should also be something that you can later create in Keynote. So they should be kind of simple, small apps. So maybe like the affirmations. Tell me, make a list of all the things that I need to pack. I have these subjects on Tuesday. What do I need to pack today? Or an app that will generate tips for the heads of school of what students think the school can improve. or maybe a lost and found items app where you can take a photo of something that you found in the school, add a location, and somebody else can come pick it up, right? So apps that really just have kind of one feature. Okay, are you ready? Then let's start. You've got 5 minutes. Write down 10, at least 10 ideas. Okay, you've got 2 more minutes. Ten seconds. Write down your last ideas. There's the the buzzer. All right, you've got 10 ideas now, or you should have about 10 ideas. And now we're going to narrow that down to one idea that you and your classmates like best. So you see those little 5 stars there. Show your ideas to one of your classmates and let them drag a star next to the idea that they like best. And so if you ask a couple of different people, then you should have a bunch of different stars at different positions, and that will help you figure out, okay, where's the need, what kind of app is needed, and what do I of course you should also think which idea you think is best. Use that to narrow your 10 ideas down to one final idea that you want to continue with. Okay, pause this video until you are ready to continue. Okay, in the next step, we are going to start rapid prototyping. And rapid prototyping helps you think creatively about your app could look like or how it could work. Use the following slides to sketch 5 rapid prototypes in 10 minutes. So you get 2 minutes to draw kind of like the main view of your app. Think about your app. What would it look like? Where would the buttons be? Where would the images be? What kind of text would it say? You can think about the colors, even though you don't really have to yet. You can do everything just with one colored pencil. But you will get 5 kind of empty iPad screens, and you get to draw the same view 5 times. So don't worry about yet, okay, if I press this button then it goes to the next thing. Just think about like the most important part of your app. So if it's a lost and found app, okay, what does it look like when I'm in the school and I open the app and I have found something? What does the app look like? Where are the buttons that I can say, hey, I found something, or hey, I've lost something? What does it look like? And we're doing this 5 different times because very often when you're designing something, you just want to kind of think outside of the box, and your first idea might not always be your best one. So this will force you to think creatively and to think about the same thing over and over again. This activity will be annoying. Very often I also do it 10 times 2 minutes, or 10 times 1 minute, and then the best ideas is always like the 8th time that you've drawn something. So if you get frustrated, great, that means the activity is working. That means you're stepping out of your comfort zone to think of new things. All right, let's start with the first one. Okay, so 2 minutes and you can start drawing what you think your screen should look like. Again, you can draw with your finger, or add a pencil, or with your pencil, or just on paper. 2 minutes to draw. time to go to the next one. And again, 2 minutes to start drawing. Okay, and the next one. 2 minutes to draw. Time's up. And remember, you can't make something pretty in 2 minutes, so it's perfectly fine if all of your designs are really ugly. Let's go again with 2 minutes. Okay, time is up. Last one, your fifth design. Okay, time is up. All right. So the reason why we are doing this rapid prototyping activity is you just came up with lots of designs, and so if you look at this here, the time that you put in is very small and the level of completeness, it's nowhere near done. But if you were to show this to your classmates now, and they give feedback of saying, oh no, I really don't like that, or oh that's really ugly, or nobody's going to need or use that feature, then it doesn't hurt as much because you haven't put in any time, just 2 minutes, and it's nowhere near complete yet. But if you would start building your app and only at the end, when you've spent 200 hours on it and it's completely done according to you, if they then say, "Oh, that's really ugly," or "I would never use this," it hurts, right? Then it's not great to ask for feedback then. So that's why we ask you to get feedback often and early from your classmates, or you can also go ahead and show this to your parents or siblings or grandparents or whoever else you want to ask for feedback, of course. So right now, look at the people around you and show them your designs. And then ask them which one do they like best. So they can either just add text on the screen and say, oh, I like this third one best, or I like this button about this one, or they can just tell you, right? You show them and you say, oh, with this third one, I really understand what's going on and what you try to do and what I as a user should do with your app. This first one is not really clear yet. Okay, then use that feedback to kind of gather your thoughts, and so that you're able to continue, and the next step will be building the actual prototype in Keynote. So again, pause me until you are done with getting your feedback and you're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, using the feedback you collected, decide on a design to move forward with. So you can copy and paste this trophy graphic and paste it on the design that you think is going to win. Doesn't mean that that's the app that you now need to go and build. It just means that that's your starting point. Okay, so for those of you who are on the iPad, we are going to go into Keynote prototyping now, which means that normally you use Keynote for a PowerPoint, a presentation, right? You start with your first slide and then you just click next, 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 and that's how you progress to your story. The only difference with this presentation and an app is that the presentation is linear. You go from slide 1 to slide 38. With an app, you can jump to different slides or different views or different screens. So what we need to do to make Keynote an app is to also make it jump, have buttons, and to have a user journey where you can follow the different buttons into different streams, and you can go back and go down a different path. So it's a kind of create your own adventure story. Okay, for those of you who are on paper, you can continue this part. You can continue to do this on paper as well. You would just kind of draw everything out on different papers. Squared paper or squared paper works best, because then it's easy to like draw straight lines and buttons and things. And then you would just kind of draw lines. Okay, when you press this button, you jump to the next paper, and you can kind of lay out your path that way. But for the rest of us, we will continue in Keynote. Okay. Oh, and this is what it could look like on paper. So 4 things that we will learn in this part. First, adding elements. In Keynote, how do you add a shape? How do you add text? How do you add a line? Then, okay, what if I want a pink button? How do I change the colors? How do I change the background of my app? Then how do I make it interactive? So how can I make a text box a button and make it jump from one slide to the next? And then also we talk about animations. Again, for the teachers, feel free to pause me at any time if I am going too fast, or just pause me after every chapter. So after add elements, pause me so that all of the students can catch up to add all of their elements, and then start the video again to continue afterwards. Okay, so let's start with adding elements. To add a line, text, shapes, tap the little shape icon, that's the square, and then the circle behind it at the top. And then choose an element that you want to have on your screen. If you would like to have images or audio or drawings or videos, then click on that little image at the top, or the media icon at the top of your toolbar, and there you can choose what kind of media you would like to add. Once you've added something, you might want to resize it, and you do that by tapping on the little blue corner and then sliding it in or out depending on the shape that you would like to have and how big you would like the shape to be. Every shape is also a text box. So if you double tap on a shape, you can add text. Okay, now add all of the elements for your app and size them correctly. Consider titles, images, buttons. Also, how will your text that's just on the page look different than a button? How will you guide your user towards what it is that they need to press? Okay, pause here until you've added all of your elements, and then add some color. Okay, let's add some color. Step 1 to add some background color is to show the slide navigator. You do that by sliding from the left side of your screen into the middle, and then you should see this slide navigator, the sidebar, come up, which looks like this. Now select the slide that you want to have the background be changed of. So tap on Format, and Format is the little paintbrush. And there you can see that you can change the background. You can either make it a gradient, make it the same color, or even add an image. Or you can have a dynamic moving background with waves that go up and down, and you can spend a lot of time kind of tweaking this. It's very fun and very mesmerizing to look at, but for the sake of time, we'll go to the next step. Now, if you would like to change the color of a shape, then you need to tap on the shape. Then again, tap the paintbrush. So with the paintbrush, you can change the look of anything that you've selected. So depending on what you have selected, you get a different view when you tap on the paintbrush. So now we see in the Style tab that we can change the colors of our boxes. You can add a border, or you can change the transparency with the slider at the bottom. And then if you go to the Text tab, you can also change the font and the text size and the text color there. Okay, continue editing the design of your prototype until you are proud of it. So give yourself some time to change all of the colors of the elements that you've added before we continue with the next step. The next step is to make your elements interactive. Make your app prototype interactive by adding links between slides. So decide if your app needs any transitions or interactivity. Probably they will, because you want your app to be interactive, right? And then usually whenever you want a new interaction to happen, you need to duplicate the slide to make your prototype interactive. So it could be that your prototype will have 100 slides. That's completely fine. To duplicate, make sure you have that sidebar open again, and then tap on the slide and then tap duplicate. Okay, now to make one button, to make a button that jumps from one slide to the next, tap on a button that you've created, and then you might need to tap on the little chevron that points to the right all the way at the end to see the option link come up. And now this linking will allow you to link to lots of different things. You can also link it to a website, an email, or a phone number, but this will link to a slide. And now it's important that you always link to the absolute. The example in here actually tells you to go to the next slide, but don't use that one. Choose slide 2 in this case, because if you at some later point want to add another slide in the second slide position, it will point to that if you just have next slide. But if you point to slide 2, it will remember which slide you actually wanted to point to. So if that second slide is suddenly the third slide, it will remember that which slide you want to point to. So that's a lot better when you're dealing with bigger apps or you're making edits down the line. Okay. Now, one more important thing that makes this presentation an app and not a keynote presentation is that you need to make it so that it only works when you're tapping a button. So when you're tapping a link. Because normally with the presentation you start at slide 1 and then you end at 38. But if you press anywhere, it just goes on to the next slide. But with an app, you only want it to do something when you tap on a link. So we need to make this presentation links only. To do that, tap on the link of the presentation on the top left. Then tap Presentation Options. Then tap Presentation Type. And there you can find links only. Okay. Now, if you play your app, if you tap on the little blue arrow at the top of the screen, you can test your links. So it could be now that you find out, oh, my user is actually at a dead end. I have pointed myself to slide 4, but there's nothing going on slide 4, or there are no buttons to actually go back to my home screen. And so make sure that you always have a way to go back as well. So that means you need to add another button that links to something else. Okay, so tap play and follow all the possible paths through your app. If there are any dead ends, add a link to ensure your user never gets stuck. Okay. When you're done with adding all of your links, then we can go ahead and make your app pretty with some animations. To add an animation, you tap on the thing that you want to animate, and then maybe again on the chevron, and then you should see animate is right next to link. Here you can explore the different animation options. So you've got a built-in, an action, so you can make it move around or pop up, or make it go bigger, or perhaps change the color. Or a build out, so that's how the element is removed from the screen. Try out the different animations. Maybe not add a lot of flames and fireworks and sparkles to your app. Your developers will kind of hate you for it, because that means they need to now go research how to code flames. So try to keep it simple and kind of nice for your users to look at. If you found a transition or an animation that you like, then tap on the little X on the left to go back. And you will then get this screen where you can choose the length of your duration and also modify some things like how you want it to animate. So maybe from the bottom to the top, or from left to right, depending on what kind of animation you've chosen. Now there's one more important thing. If you're using the links only presentation type, the animations will only play after a transition. Because animations normally work by default by listening to a tap, so normally the on tap is selected, but we've just turned off the taps because we wanted links only. So that means if you want two different kind of animations that are triggered by tapping, that they need to be on two separate slides. You can have more than one animation, but that will only work if they run after each other. You can't trigger an animation by tapping in a links only presentation. So that requires some kind of planning and tweaking on your part. And to view this screen, this kind of playlist of all the animations, tap on the little build order menu on your top right of your animation view. And what you need to do then is on the first animation, tap after transition. And on all the other animations, tap after build, and then they will run after each other. And again, you can use the preview to test your animations. Continue editing until your app looks and functions correctly. Okay, now give yourself as much time as you need to continue with this. It could be 5 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be 30 weeks. You can build out this prototype as detailed as you like, to make it look as perfectly close to an app as you want. But your teacher will tell you how much time you have left to build this now. Then at a later stage, you can show your keynote to people in your classroom and then ask them to fill out kind of like a feedback form In what ways did you enjoy my app? Suggestions to improve the experience. What score would you give it? 1 out of 5? Or maybe, hopefully, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. And then you have 3 different feedback forms in here for classmates to fill out. Then you can also write some copy to promote your app. Okay, so now you've built your app. How are you going to publish it into the App Store? So first you need to do some research of what information is needed in the App Store. And then you will make your own product page like this. So create an app icon. What will the icon of your app look like? We also have a project for that. Screenshots, description, which category is it in, what is the age rating for your app. And then you will be done with this project if you have finished all of this. So a little recap of what we've done today. We've come up with some ideas for a simple app. You've practiced being an app designer. And you learned keynote skills for rapid prototyping. If at any point now you want to turn this prototype into a real app, then teaching code with Swift Playgrounds is a great way to start. With Swift Playgrounds, you can build this app yourself, and the teaching code with Swift Playgrounds in the Apple Teacher Learning Center will help you how to get started with that. Open up the playgrounds on your iPad, and there's lots of materials that can help you get started. All right, for now, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that you've all created beautiful apps, and I can't wait to see what you've created. Thank you very much for joining this lesson.